Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Please turn off all cell phones until after Jumah. Please. Thank you. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. And alhamdulillah, ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astaghfiruhu wa astaghfiruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd. MashaAllah, what a beautiful opening dua. I want to greet all of you all with the Islamic greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be to you. Peace be to you, Ikhwan, and dear esteemed guests. For a brief translation of that opening dua, for those of us who are not familiar with the Arabic language, I started out by seeking the praises of Allah, or invoking the praises of Allah, because to Him we have to be grateful. Everything comes from Him. All of the good comes from Him. Much of the bad that we see in this world comes from us. And I want to talk about that in the khutbah. I praise Him and I seek His assistance, and I beseech His guidance, and I ask for His forgiveness. I beg for His forgiveness. And I declare that there is no God worthy of worship other than Allah, and that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger. Dear brothers and sisters, there's quite a bit going on in the Muslim Ummah and in this great country of ours, and even in this community. We just observed the Siyam during the month of Ramadan, so the fast, and we celebrated that end of that month with Eid al-Fitr. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our Siyam, our sacrifice. Inshallah, Ameen. We believe as Muslims that now the gates of hell are open, and Shaitan, Iblis, the one who's earned the title Shaitan, the cursed one, is now out and about among our midst. He's trying to influence us. He had 30 days of being kept from us, being kept from whispering among us, spreading dissension in our hearts and among our ranks. And now he's got to make up for lost time. So he's going to be busy. So we're going to see maybe a lot more things happening. We're going to see attacks on Muslims, and unfortunately, one of our sisters was beaten to death. We know about the young Muslim sister out in Virginia, I believe it was. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on her and grant her Jannah, inshallah. And there were two young Muslim men who were shot a little earlier before that. And even those who aren't Muslim, there was a young lady who was a police officer who was killed. She was shot at point blank range. She was a servant in her community as a police officer. May Allah have mercy on her, inshallah. So I want to talk about the greatness of this country of ours. And I talked to somebody before the khutbah, and he said, well, you talk about that a lot. But I said that I think it's our responsibility. We have called ourselves the nation's mosque. We're less than 2 miles away from the White House and about a mile away from the Capitol building. And we're here in the nation's capital. So I think we have a responsibility to speak to the good of this country, but also address many of the ills that afflict it. Because in Islam we have the cure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us his book, the Quran, by which we can conduct ourselves. It's the standing operating procedure by which the Muslim conducts his affairs. He said in Surah Al-Baqarah, the 2nd chapter, entitled The Cow, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book in which there is no doubt. It is a guidance to the muttaqin, the righteous. So I want to read from that book and see if we can come to some of the solutions that afflict our community. Unfortunately, in this past year, we've heard a lot of rhetoric enjoining people towards xenophobia, so fear of foreigners. Not all of you all are from this country. Some of you all are from maybe India or Pakistan or Egypt or Lebanon, different countries in Africa, different countries in Europe, different countries in Asia. But you're welcome here. You should know that you're welcome here. You should know that you're safe within these borders. And unfortunately, when you hear a lot of vitriol that incite people toward suspicion against you because you may speak with an accent, or maybe your food is a little bit different, or maybe your customs are a little bit different, and then people act against you. You don't even get a chance for people to get to know your character, right? You come into a store. I had this happen. I was with a brother from Algeria, and the store clerk wasn't even acknowledging him. We were buying something, and the brother with whom I was with was asking questions. Well, the guy wouldn't even look at him. And he was doing his interaction with me, and then he says something to the effect of, yeah, don't tell him that. And, as we were walking away from the store, the brother was like, what was that about? I didn't do anything to this guy. I said, yeah, brother, you've got an accent. So this guy was like just totally ignoring you. And that's one of the highest forms of disrespect, right? Sometimes if somebody insults us, they call us a name, to get a rise out of us, and we respond back. Yeah, that's not as bad as somebody totally ignoring you. And that's what happened to this brother. I said, you know what? If you didn't have that accent, then he might have treated you differently. But I get this a lot. I'm one of Bani Abd, the children of slaves. My ancestors were brought to this country in chains and were forced into chattel slavery. And I used to be ashamed of that. But now I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, because I think it was a form of purification for our group. I work with a lot of people from Africa, and they tell me about the wars they have among their tribes. And it's really amazing to me. They say, there's more than 300 tribes in my country. Not all of us get along. I said, but you all look alike to me. He says, I know, but that's the thing. When I came to America, my brother, I was really amazed because, I said, do you know who I am? Do you know I'm from this tribe? And nobody cared. I was like, oh yeah, welcome to America. So it's almost an equalizer. But it's good in a way, because what it does is it puts us all on an equal footing, in a way. Now the thing about America, the United States of America, is that it's united. It's an ideal. It's an idealized thought of this utopia where everybody's treated on the content of their character, not based on their skin color or their hair texture. Now, of course, that ideal is not followed in many cases. We have a lot of work to do, but it's gotten better. I was born in the 60s, 1968. I was born the year that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Now, he was a man who was hit on with bricks. He was spat on. He was arrested, and still tried to teach and preach the gospel of love, as mentioned in the Bible. That takes great strength. And that's not a unique gospel. That's not a unique methodology. I would remind us about our beautiful Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many of us know the story of Al-Taif. Al-Taif is a city in which Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wanted to go talk to the leaders of the city, just to give them a good word, just to call them to the kalimat of La ilaha illallah, and to follow his way. He wasn't trying to take over their city. He just wanted to talk to them. So he was met with jeers. He was met with stones and stool and filth and waste as people would throw it at him. They got the children of the city to chase him out of the city while throwing things at him and damaging him. He was some scholars say that his garb was just drenched in blood, in his own blood, by the time the youth of that city got through throwing stones and other filth at him. And Angel Jibril himself came to him and said, if you want, I will smash this city in between two mountains. This is the strength that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Angel Jibril. And what did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? He said, no, don't do that, because from this city may come Muslims. These people may become Muslim. And sure enough, if you visit that city now, do you know that the city of Al-Taif, it's still standing. It's a Muslim city. Allahu Akbar. And I say that because it's easy to give up, right? It's easy to give up when you follow the methodology of victimhood. And many of us, all of us, are victims of something. All of us are victims of xenophobia. All of us are victims of racism. All of us are victims of sexism. All of us are victims of some type of discrimination against you. Whether it's you're white or you're black, or you're non-Muslim or Muslim, or you're from this country or you're not from this country. All of us have a reason to bear our grievances to each other and to society. But we can't give up on each other. And we can't give up on our country. Right? It's so easy to do. I love the declarations in this country where it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed with inalienable rights, above which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a beautiful thing. And you think about a lot of the things that the leaders of this country have done in the name of spreading democracy. And it's very evil. They've dropped nuclear bombs on people. They've enslaved people. The leaders have decimated the populations of the indigenous people of this country. But still, we can't give up on the ideal of this country. Yeah, that's why I wear the flag. Somebody asked me, you go to that masjid where they hang the flag out front? Man, astaghfirullah. I said, there's nothing wrong with being a patriotic American. There's nothing wrong with that. Many of us are veterans. We have a veterans association here. You know, the imam of this community is a veteran, I think for more than 30 years. Many of us have served this country, maybe not in the armed forces, but in our various professions. And that's taking accountability for your country. That's taking an accountability for your community. We have a banner outside that says our community, our responsibility. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful paradigm. What if we turned our back on this community? You know, and I'm a Washingtonian. I tell you guys this joke. My parents moved from here during the 70s. It was the heroin epidemic. And our neighborhood just became too dangerous to stay in. I mean, literally, there were shootings in the alleyway that I used to watch from my window. So we moved to southern Maryland. And one of the things that I experienced, I was a young boy at the time. I was in our front yard, and this guy drove by and said, "Go back where you came from." So I said, okay. I listened to him 20 years later, and I came back to D.C. So I'm a Washingtonian. And, you know, the beautiful thing about the nation's capital is that we have a lot of work to do. But the demographic is such that it represents humanity. I mean, in this small gathering, there's only maybe not even 100 people gathered here at this time. But how many different nations are here? How many different tongues are spoken? Allah Akbar. Think of what we could learn from each other if we taught each other our language. You know, my wife and children and I we have a tajweed teacher. He's teaching us some proper enunciation of Arabic. He's from Pakistan. We meet him on Skype. What an amazing thing. And that's one of the things that we have in this country. You know, we've been given so much. We can show our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by trying to set a good example. This ummah al wahida that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sacrificed so much for, to set an example of how people could get along, people from different tribes and nations. Allahu Akbar. May He take the rancor out of our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the disdain that we may have for our brother or our sister because they look different from us or they sound different from us. May He help us follow that ideal of Ummatin Wahida. May He help us show America, the United States of America, how they can truly be united when you take different people and unite them under one good cause. And it shows what great things that we can accomplish. Because the real enemy that we have, you know, and I say this as a black man, yeah, I hear, unfortunately, a lot of my black folks will say, you know, the white man's the devil, the white man's the enemy. This is not true. You know, my background is in medicine. And I can tell you, I worked at DC General. I did most of my medical training at Howard University and DC General. I can't tell you the number of young black men who would come in shot up, the number of young black women who would come in stabbed, overdosed on drugs. It wasn't the white man that sold them drugs. It wasn't the white man that did the drive-by shooting in the name of keeping it real. It was other black guys. So we have to see the enemy within our own selves. That is that nafs, the thing that calls to our ego and our jahil way of thinking, our ignorance. And that shaitan is the real enemy. He made Allah a promise when He said, "I will, because you have done this to me," meaning He blamed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for leading him astray. And this is the cardinal way of thinking of somebody who doesn't take responsibility or accountability of their own actions. He said, "I will lay for them and wait. I will lay for them and wait to the left and to their right, in front of them and behind them, and you will find most of them what? Unthankful." Allahu Akbar. You will find most of us unthankful. So we have a very serious thing that we've got to do. We have to prove shaitan wrong as best we can. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Rahman, the 55th chapter of the Quran, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which of the favors of your Lord do you deny? How much greatness do we have amongst us in our own ummah, in a small gathering even, in this country? We can show the United States of America how you can truly be united when you acknowledge your differences, but you also work together for a greater cause. And what greater cause could there be than serving our Lord? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. All praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I seek His guidance and I ask His forgiveness. And I ask Him to grant peace and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family. I want to read in the second part of the khutbah, I want to read from Surah Al-Hujurat, which is the 49th surah. And those are called the dwellings. This is the 13th verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dhakir wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uba wa qabaila lita'arafu. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. إن الله عليم خبير. صدق الله العظيم. O mankind, we created you from a single pair of a male and a female and made you into nations and tribes that you may know each other. Parenthetically, not that you may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you. And Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all things. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful thing. So this is our Lord telling us the things that we've forgotten, that Shaitan has made us forget over time. At one time, there was just our father, Adam, and our mother, Hawa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with both of them. We all come from them. If you could look around this room, my God, if you could see things from my perspective, there's so many shades of people. Some of us with different hair textures. Some of us with no hair. And know that if you live long enough, whatever color hair you have, it'll either fall out or it'll turn gray. Allahu Akbar. So, there's no need for us to fight amongst each other. Now, unfortunately, all of these things are due to our weakness. It's very difficult for us to put our egos in check when we have a difference of opinion. And if you see what happens, take two people who are arguing, for instance. At some point, the person crosses the bounds, right? If the other person doesn't say, okay, look, I'm not going to argue. The voices get a little bit louder. The two people get a little bit closer, and it goes from arguing about a certain topic to now they're insulting each other. Next thing you know, they're fighting. And this is from the Shaitan. And then if they have groups of people around them, those groups of people may divide into each other. Right? And then you've got tribes and nations, neighborhoods fighting each other. You know, the demographics in the city have changed a little bit, so you don't see as much of the banging, as one guy was telling me. But I remember back in the 80s, I would see what are called tags on the side of buildings. You'd have things like the Drake Park crew or the Shaw crew. And I would talk to these young guys. You know, I'd kind of mentor them and say, you know, what is that about? I said, well, you know, if somebody comes on our side of the street, you know, we deal with them. I said, well, what does that mean? You kill them? You beat them up? You know, the guys, yeah. And, that seems foolish. But what do we see in the world today? My God, look at the Muslim Ummah. You talk to people, and you've got so many different minhajes, so many different schools of thought amongst our group in Islam. There's no need for us to kill and fight each other. There's no need for us to do this. And the shaitan's the one that's winning. If we could see that, if we could see things from the perspective of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we can see that every time somebody goes into a marketplace and blows people up in the name of Allah, no good can come of this. Shaitan is one. Shaitan is one. And I say this again, as Bini Abd, the son of slaves in this country. My parents came out of the Pan-Africanist movement and joined the Nation of Islam back in the 60s under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And they left that very short time, and they came under the leadership of Imam Warathdin Muhammad. Now, that was a progression that they had to go through. He said, well, we don't agree with what was preached before, but it was a progression. They had to start somewhere. That's where they got their Quran. They got the concept of making salah. That's where this country is from. It started out with this ideal. Many bad things were done. Many bad things are continuing to be done. But there's an ideal to which we're trying to strive toward. You see? So we could have said, well, black folks, let's go into, places where white folks live and blow ourselves up and just start doing mass shootings. Where would we be today? This country would not be as united as it is today. We just had a president who got to run for 2 terms. Alhamdulillah, my grandfather died several years ago, but he was in his 90s. And tears came to his eyes. He said, I never thought I'd live long enough to see a black man be president. That's amazing. He had his Obama hat on. He said, well, that sounds like racism. But he grew up in the South. He went through some really bad things. If you could imagine his memory as a boy in the 20s and 30s, growing up as a young kid, a young black kid in the South. He went through some horrific things. But he didn't hold on to that bitterness. And he tried to teach my dad, who eventually taught me, how to be the best citizen that you can be. And be the best person that you can be. And that contributes to the society. I think, inshallah, that Islam can be the example for all of humanity to show them how to get along, to show them how to strive to that which is best, service to our Lord. Could you imagine, look at the inventions that's come out of the Muslim Ummah. Some of the most amazing astrolabes, these things with which you use to chart the stars, were invented by Muslims. Some of the most amazing innovations in medicine were invented by Muslims. What we call Arabic numbers, Muslims. Allahu Akbar. So we have a responsibility. And I want to close because I don't want to make the khutbah long. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that one of the signs of a person with knowledge is that they make the khutbah short and the prayer long. Not that I'm a person of knowledge, but I know that many of us are in school, many of us have got jobs to go to, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to leave our businesses, make a brief khutbah, and go back and seek the good of this life. So in closing, I want to close. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us wary of the shaitan. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep the shaitan away from us, to help us control ourselves, control our nafs. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us united as an ummah and united as a country. I ask Him to help us not to be suspicious of one another, and that we remember that the best of us in His sight is the one who is the most pious, the one who fears Him the most. I ask Allah to grant peace and blessings on Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his family. إن الله وملائكته ويصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما. Allah and His angels send blessings on the Prophet. Oh, you believe, sending blessings on him, and salute him with all due respect. I ask Allah to give us the best of this life and the best of the next, and keep us safe from the hellfire. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. أقيم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله. Okay. I'll give us a minute to straighten our lands, please. Can everybody hear me? Sisters in back? And please turn off your cell phones, inshallah. Pray this prayer as if it's your last. Raise your hand, please, if your lines are straightened back. Let's go down just 1 inch. Okay. Put your foot this way. Okay, good. We're straightened back? Okay. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي كدر فهدى والذي يخرج المرعى فجعلهم غثاء نحوا سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك اليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنب الأشقى الذي يسعى الكبرى ثم لم يدخل يحيى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. هل أتاك حديث غاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين عانية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى إبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلى من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله Taqabbalah, may Allah accept our prayers. If there's anything that I've said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. If there's anything that I've said that is incorrect, it is from myself and my own ignorance. If there's anything that I've said that is of benefit, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We've got some announcements. Please listen to the announcements, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamualaikum, brothers and sisters. Since we finished the khutbah a little early, those who got to leave, please do so quietly, and don't forget to give your sadaqah. Please, these announcements won't be too long. Be much shorter than the khutbah. Okay, those of you who don't have the announcements, you may already see these things, but every Friday at 3 p.m. It's a Boy Scout meeting, and Dr. Omar Abdul Malik is one of the Boy Scout leaders, because he has 2 or 3 sons in the Boy Scouts, and as well as those who don't know him, look him up on Facebook. He's a doctor, a real doctor, and he's doing a lot of wonderful things with the youth to help them become professional in the medical field. And also, I noticed there's a lot of more young people here today than I normally see, and maybe it's because they're out of school for the summer. That's a good sign, and we want to continue them coming. And also, I noticed we have the convener of the Northeast of the Mid-Atlantic region with us today, another doctor, Dr. Nuruddin, Dr. Abel J. Nuruddin, who also writes a weekly column in the Muslim Journal that we should all read so that we can continue to stay in the best health that Allah blessed us with after Ramadan. On Saturday from 8:30 to 5 p.m., there's a flea market. Anyone who wants to be part of that, see Brother Saifuddin Majid, and you can get you a vending spot. There's an intermediate Arabic class. Brother Rasul Salim teaches, I believe he teaches it on the telephone. That's at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And Brother Ali, who's normally in the front row, I don't see him right now, but he has an ongoing free computer training class at 1:30 p.m. Imam Yusuf Salim, the former resident imam here, teaches a Shahada class for those who are new to the faith, or those who just want to get a refresher on the basics. It's called Shahada 101 course, and that's on Sunday at 9. And we have a new study al-Islam session starting this Sunday, July the 9th, and it goes up until April the 29th at 10 a.m. every Sunday. You can call in to this number, 712-770-4160, access code 684-0112. And the topic of discussion will be from these qualified and learned imams in our association. That's the Association of Imam W.D. Muhammad. It's called The Man Behind the Men, and they describe their relationship, and they will reflect on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's leadership and legacy from 1931 to 1975. And there's a book in the bookstore called The Man Behind the Men in the Ikra bookstore downstairs, so please visit that bookstore and see what's there as well. We still have CDs available from the recent Ramadan session we just had. We had Dr. Nasser Ahmed from Miami, Florida, teach us for 3 days and give the Jumah Khutbah. The full set of 12 CDs is only $60. And if you buy them each individually, there's 8 sessions, it's $10 each. And if you attended the Ramadan session, it's less than $60. They have a free low vision support group here. The Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired has a free low vision support group. So people who have lost their vision or feel they're losing their vision, there's some information here with the key bar that you can get some information and be part of that. The annual graduation program, which should have been held last Sunday, is postponed until 2018 due to lack of people who signed up. I know we got a lot of graduates, but we only had a few that signed up, so we postponed that. There's a free luncheon for seniors with the key bar, and they have they hosting a luncheon for the oldest seniors. So if you know the name of some of the founding seniors in this community, please see Sister Saisha Neal and provide her the specifics, because they want to recognize these elder pioneers in our community. True Laundry detergent is available outside. Brother Stanley, Post 1 Commander for Muslim American Veterans Association, is selling that as a fundraiser for Marva Post 1. Please support it, and it's some good detergent too, and that will help us start on our way of freeing ourselves from depending on others to provide the things that we all need and we use on a daily basis ourselves and our families. The community garden, Brother Marion McMahon over here, the Takbir brother after Jumah, he's involved with the garden. He would love to get some of you all who want to get your hands a little dirty and grow some food for yourself and the community. See Brother Marion over here. The Celebrate Marriage Committee, Brother Kwame and Sister Rafia are heading that up, and that's planned for October the 28th. And again, we have to have married people in our community with children to sustain this community for the future when most of us are not going to be here to carry on this legacy. DC1 Fund, if you're a government employee, you can give your tax deductible contribution by using code 9030. Don't forget our sick and shut in. We have, most of us know them, Rashid Abdul Alim, Manuel Salim, Imam Kashif, Brother John Matt Yoon, Anthony Golson Jr., Lillian Copeland, Tanya Farnes, Rosie Short, and there's others, but please make it a point if you have time to visit our sick and shut in. And every Wednesday, this is very important, we have a weekly Tafsir weekly study session every Wednesday here in the Masala from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's Imam W.D. Muhammad Tafsir. So we want to see as many of us there as possible to be a part of that and to contribute to it and keep it going strong. Next Saturday, July the 22nd, that's not next Saturday, 2 weeks from now, Masjid Muhammad will be hosting a singles icebreaker. That's from 12 p.m. to 3:30. So if you're single, sisters, brothers, I ain't going to say others, come out and see what you can find your other half of your deen. And I only got 1 or 2 more announcements and I'm done. It says our Dean is Green program from ages 6 to 12. It's a wonderful program, opportunity for children to be part of this our Dean is Green program. Snacks and beverages are provided, and this again will start on July the 22nd. And the contact person is ed@thenationsmosque.org. That's ed@thenationsmosque.org. And they need you to sign up by June the 11th. July the 11th, I'm sorry. The Muslim American Veterans Association will start back to their regularly scheduled meetings also on 2 weeks from now, on Saturday, July the 22nd at 10 a.m. here in Masjid Muhammad. And the Key Bar is hosting on October 4th, 2017, a luncheon cruise, bingo luncheon cruise on the Spirit of Washington. The price is $49.90 per person, and the payment is due no later than September the 15th. Thank you for your time, attention. Brother Jama, you got something?
I lost a key, set of key on me. I lost it.
What kind of key?
Home key.
If anyone finds a key around here and it doesn't belong to you, please turn it into the office. One of our members has lost a key that he believes he lost around here. So please be on the lookout for that and turn it into the office if you find it. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.